Welcome to Brainiac, the show that grabs science by the sideburns and makes it stand outside the headmaster's study. Tonight, it's the best of Brainiac, where we've hand-picked our favourite experiments and assembled them into an hour of ill-disciplined science shenanigans. The best of science on Brainiac tonight. Chocks away as we go parachuting Brainiac style. Bog roll at the ready, it's brown noise. Brainiac boffin John Tickle goes undercover with X-ray vision. Which is faster, my bike, a golf ball or a firework? And we use science to turn a big girl's blouse into a biker jacket. But first, my personal favourite, electrocuting a Brainiac. Take one very large deserted warehouse. Introduce some low-amp, 9-volt electrical equipment, one Brainiac, and you have yourself an experiment. The current that these electrode pads will carry produces electrical impulses that will stimulate specific muscle groups. This week, can our Brainiac make a great first impression on a romantic candlelit dinner date whilst being electrocuted? Our Brainiac has 4 electrode pads attached to the right-hand side of his body. 2 on his arms and 2 on his back. When the electrical current flows into his body, it causes his muscles to contract. There's clearly no doubt this dinner date will be remembered, but for all the wrong reasons. And it's about to get a whole lot worse. So, a lack of wine appreciation, conversation, bar a few grunts and groans, and the inability to eat with manners means our Brainiac will have to dine alone. Making a great first impression. One more thing you can't do whilst being electrocuted.
Things that make you go,
Here's one for you. It's impossible to lick your own elbow. And 90% of people who hear that try it.
Things that make you go,
Now, here's something I can guarantee. I can guarantee that every single bloke watching this show right now, every single one, will, when they were a kid, at some point have taken one of their sister's dollies and tied a handkerchief to its arms, then chucked it out the bedroom window to see if it worked as a parachute. You did. I know you did. I also know that every time it would plummet to earth like a big brick. Well, as you know by now, we here on Brainiac never really did the whole growing up thing. So today, we're going to be doing more of the same. Only this time, we're not going to be using our sister's dollies. Right, before we try out any parachutes, we need to see how long a mannequin takes to fall without anything attached to it. We're going to be lobbing them all off this 100-foot crane and time them as they hurtle or sail gracefully to Earth. OK, here we go. 3, 2, 1, go!
Down, 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 down. Bang!
OK, what was that?
2 seconds, 48.
It was also fantastic. So, with no parachute and nothing to slow down the inevitable plummeting force of gravity, it's 2.48 seconds from drop to crash. The end result? Well, her legs survived intact, but catastrophic loss of limbs, bisected torso, and quite a nasty scratch on the face. But all in all, she's dead. Now, let's try one with a parachute. We've got a variety of different parachutes to try, but we're going to start with a faithful old friend, the black bin bag. Now, the science behind this is fairly simple. As the mannequin falls, the bin bag will open like that sort of thing, filling with air and creating drag through the sky, thus slowing the mannequin's descent to the ground. Right, let's lob this baby off something high.
OK, I'm not too confident it'll actually fly, but I am hoping it'll take a little bit longer to fall than the no parachute version.
That's quality. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go!
Down, 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 down. Baby,
I don't know if that made it worse.
3.2.
3.2, it worked!
Well, it took a moment, but all 3 bags did eventually deploy, which slowed her down a fraction. And the damage, a catastrophic shattering of both wrists. Oh, and a severed foot. Onward and upward.
OK, next we're going for the Mary Poppins approach. What we've done here is prepare a kind of main body of the parachute with these 3 big umbrellas, but then here's the really clever bit. This is a kind of reserve chute, just in case there's a problem with the main canopy. Heaven forbid. Oh, and I always had a bit of a soft spot for Mary Poppins. Well, I did. So I'm going to blindfold her because it might be quite scary up there. So we'll put that on. Right, if we collapse all the umbrellas to get it onto the crane, and don't forget to open them. All right, take it up.
Down, down, down.
This might just work. Just a suggestion, we might want to stand a bit further back because I think it might drift. Good luck, Mary. OK, here we go. 3, 2, 1, go!
Baby,
Oh, Mary! She's coming off. What was the time?
4.7.
4.7! That's a second and a bit.
Well, a good time, but umbrella number 1 collapsing early on didn't help, swiftly followed by 2 and 3, only the reserve chute holding firm throughout. The net result, terrible spinal injuries. Basically, she snapped in half. Mary never really stood a chance.
Well, Mary Poppins was actually pretty good. The bin bags were a bit rubbish, to be honest. This, though, I've got a lot of faith in because we're using a bed sheet. And we've been a bit clever here. What we've done is cut a hole in the centre. And that's because it was discovered after the Second World War that parachutes work better with a hole in the middle to allow some of the air to escape, which means they drop in a straight line rather than swinging crazily around. Done it? Ready? Right. Just for a change, I'm going to lob this one off.
Right, so this should be the closest thing to the Sisters Dolly handkerchief scenario.
Mannequin, parachute. Right. Well, I'm ready. Wish me luck and stand back. Might work.
down, down, down. It's falling solid down.
This is high enough, surely. Oh no, we're still going up. Oh God. Okay. Are we ready? Here I go. Lifting Mannequin up. Discovering how heavy Mannequin is. Right. Hold on. Strings are out. I have the chute. I think I'm ready. Go.
Down, 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 down. Baby, down.
Hey, that wasn't bad. Yeah.
A truly graceful descent. The chute deploys perfectly, and our World War II paratrooper bites the dust in 4.8 seconds. A tenth of a second better than the umbrellas. Well done, Tommy. So, how does he look?
Top marks for style. Look, that's not bad, actually. I mean, he's intact. Well, his hand's come off, but you can grow another one of those, probably. I mean, it would have saved him. And his foot. His foot's a bit broken. And his leg. But other than his hand, his foot, and his other foot, his hand and his leg, and his face. His both feet, his hand, his leg, and his face, and that hand. Other than that, it would have saved his life. Well done.
Dead he may be, but Tommy has taught us some valuable lessons.
Right, we've had a bit of a think about this parachute business, and we've come up with this. We think it's the ultimate parachute. We've combined everything we've done so far. We're using garden refuse bags. They're nearly as light as the bin bags, but a lot stronger. We've cut holes in the top like we did in the bed sheet, and we've fitted an emergency reserve umbrella just because we could, really. Oh, and we're using 2 Brainiacs to launch it, so it should get away cleanly. Right, load it up. Let's do this.
So, have our previous mannequins died in vain? Or have we learned enough in their suicidal flights to have made the ultimate flotation device? Let's lob him off and see.
Stopwatch?
Yep.
OK, you ready? 3, 2, 1, Go!
Down, 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 down.
Oh!
Bang! Dang.
Go on.
4.9.
We did it! Not by a lot, but it worked. Right, let's have a look. Look at that! She's intact. Everything's attached. That's genius. That's good work, Brainiacs. Well done. So, there you go. If ever you find yourself needing to jump off a 100 or foot so cherry picker, what you need is 2 garden refuse sacks, a few bits of string, and a very small umbrella. And you'll be fine. We ask a lot of questions here on Brainiac. They come to us when we go out and look at the world around us and ask the simple question, why? And then sometimes we just nick stuff off the internet. Things like this that we found in a website chat room. I've heard that if you play a sound at exactly the right frequency, it'll make whoever hears it poo their pants. A sound that makes you poo your pants. Can it be true? Well, we've been doing some research, and we think there may well be something in this. Apparently, the sound is called brown noise, and it's what's known as a subsonic frequency. This machine can deliver subsonic frequencies. The exact sound we're looking for was discovered by a man called Trevor Wilson, who wrote a thesis on it. He said that it is a tone played at a frequency of 22.275 hertz and a level of minus 30 decibels. In his paper, he said that it will immediately loosen the bowels, causing diarrhea in any persons within 1 meter of the source. It's believed to do this by stirring up the sympathetic vibration frequency of a person's colon. OK, now this is going to be an interactive experiment, one for you to try at home along with us. In a few minutes, I'm going to set that machine to generate the tone, brown noise. Now, this speaker goes in here, and our Brainiac, come on, goes in along with it. Oh, hang on, you'll need this. Almost certainly. Good luck. You can take part at home as well, because we'll be including the noise in the soundtrack of this show. All of this will be happening after the break, but don't worry about not being ready, because we'll be giving you this on-screen warning before we do it. So join us in just a few minutes when we will, for the first time ever on British television, be broadcasting brown noise. This object has been magnified 20 times. Containing more fat than a fat bloke, it goes down great with a pint or two. What do you think it is? Find out after the break. Earlier, we showed you this and asked you to identify it. It's been magnified 20 times. If you're itching to know the answer, it's a Brainiac's pub snack of choice, the pork scratching. Now, brown noise. Stand by, because we're about to set this box to generate a subsonic frequency known as brown noise, a sound that is apparently guaranteed to make you crap yourself. Literally. Now, if you're going to take part in this experiment at home, you do need to take a few immediate precautions. Firstly, clear all access routes and corridors to your nearest bathroom. And secondly, make sure that everyone watching has an available toilet nearby. OK, we're going to be transmitting brown noise in about 20 seconds. So if you don't want to hear it and experience its possible consequences, turn your television sound down now. Right, here we go. OK, Brainiac in there. Are you ready?
Yes.
Good. Well, stand by. No, don't. Sit. Make that sit by. OK, everybody, this is it. Make yourselves ready. OK. 3, 2, 1, go. Brown noise. Japanese riot police tried it. The French tested it on their own soldiers. A note vibrating at the same frequency as the human colon. It's a weapon that could transform warfare. But will it work?
Right.
We're safe. Now, I don't know how that affected you at home, but I do want to know. So please email. The address is info@brainiac.co.uk. Now, obviously, we here didn't hear anything because our ear defenders protected us. But I wonder what happened to our Brainiac over there. Hello? Are you OK? Can you open the door for me, please? Just unlock it. Brainiacs, I think we need buckets, probably.
So, just a reminder that if you or the person sitting next to you has, like our Brainiac, had a little accident, let us know. It's info@brainiac.co.uk. Down at the lab, 3 Brainiacs take on a mouth-watering challenge. They've got 3 spicy sauces to try, but in a slightly larger quantity than they're used to. Each Brainiac is representing a different country. For England, mustard, the traditional accompaniment to corned beef. For Mexico, Tabasco, the enchilada's friend. And for Japan, wasabi sauce, the ideal partner to sushi.
Please take a tablespoonful of the sauce.
The rules of the game are simple. Each one has to take the sauce in their mouth and hold it there as long as possible.
Please raise your spoons.
Spit it out or cry like a baby and you lose. Take sides then for the Battle of the Nations. They're keen, but can England cut the mustard?
Please put the sauce in your mouth.
Last man standing is the winner. English mustard only tastes spicy when the seeds are cracked and mixed with cold liquid. When the sauce hits saliva in the mouth, the pungency is released and the heat builds. Tabasco contains capsaicin, a compound which stimulates the nerve endings and makes the brain think you're in pain. The brain responds by releasing endorphins, which makes you feel lightheaded and happy. Hence maybe the maraca shaking. Wasabi is a herb whose extreme spiciness is the plant's defense to being eaten by insects. It's packed with vitamins and minerals, but also, unfortunately for this Brainiac, one of the hottest foodstuffs known to man. As the competition hots up, the fieriness starts to bite. It digs into the delicate pores and sensitive areas of the mouth and binds itself to the taste buds. Now it's only love of their country that keeps them going.
Shut your mouth, Japan. Keep it shut.
Uncharacteristically, Japan is the first to break. A shock result. So now it's a straight fight. British Bulldog spirit against the Mexican wave.
Loose it about a bit, Mexico. That's it. England, stiff upper lip.
Sluicing spreads the misery until finally Mexico throws in the towel. So there it is, once again, Britain rules the waves, 1-0 to us. Thank God it didn't go to penalties.
Think of hard men, and you think of the likes of Vinnie Jones, Mike Tyson, and Steve McFadden. Well, maybe not Steve, he's scared of his mother. Anyway, a real hard man is somebody who can just walk into a bar and command instant respect. And we on Brainiac got to thinking about the science behind being hard. For instance, can you turn somebody who is, quite frankly, a bit of a sissy into a hard man in just a few hours?
Very angry.
This is Dominic. He's a softie who wants to be a Hollywood tough guy, just like his hero, the film actor and macho man, Arnold Schwarzenegger. To help him look tough are these 3 lads. In the middle is Dave. He's into fitness and fighting and has trained for 25 years. To his left and right are Glenn and Chris. Both have been National Open Combat champs. All 3 take part in demonstration fighting. These boys are hard. The challenge to turn Dominic from a softie into Arnie under the guidance of a trained professional. To find out just how hard Dominic is, or is not, we've designed a test. In true Hollywood style, we've recreated a dodgy bar where dodgy geezers hang out. Dominic's job is to walk into this bar and make himself known. He then needs to demonstrate his athletic prowess by smashing watermelons. And he has to knock over this punch bag. Once that's done, he needs to confront this subject before he wrestles him to the ground. That should be interesting. With him out of the way, Dominic's job is to kick this locked door in, then forcibly remove this geezer from the bar. But first up, this is how it should be done.
I'm angry! And I'll son of a...
Being in the right mental state and projecting an air of self-belief can give you the edge over your opponents. Sports psychology makes up a large part of any athlete's success.
See, the trouble with you don't listen!
Although it may not look it, Dave is actually a nice guy, but that's not the impression he's giving here. For the past 6 years, he's been coaching and practicing mixed martial arts, the sort of thing you can see in most Quentin Tarantino films.
Come on!
A lot of what Dave is doing is not just about strength or size, it's timing and technique. Now, the final hurdle. This is where their skills as stunt fighters really come into play.
I'll throw you out! I did enough for you! Oh!
You'll be pleased to know Chris is wearing protection.
Well, I tell you, you're out! You're out! You don't listen to me, do you?
Remember, these guys are trained professionals, so please don't try this at home or at your local. So that's the demonstration over. Time now for our wannabe to show us what he's got.
I'm angry and I'm a son of a...
Well, he's not exactly projecting an air of invincibility. At this stage, his only weapon would be incapacitating his opponent due to laughter. He doesn't handle the bat with any athletic grace either, and looks more Hugh Grant than Grant Mitchell. And this is a classic example of poor technique. That is not a punch. He's supposed to knock it so it stays down. And if he can't handle that, how's he going to handle this? I don't think I can watch. So things not going quite to plan. And no matter how hard he tried, he just couldn't get the door to open. And right about now, it goes from bad to worse.
I thought I told you to leave.
Talking to me, mate?
Yes, I am.
As well as having the tables turned on him, our softie also gets a free dental examination. Arnold Schwarzenegger, he ain't. Dave and the boys have got some work to do.
Dominic, wrap it up, wrap it up. We're going to have to make you look just a little bit harder. We're going to get you into these and give you a little bit of training, and let's get through this system a little bit better. Come on, son, with us.
All right? Yeah.
Join us later in the show as our softie goes through some intensive training. Can the boys turn him into a movie hero?
Want a trick to play on your mates? If you've got any, plop some sodium iodide in the bog. And some hydrogen peroxide in the top. And stand well back. Whoa, foamy. Makes me laugh.
Anyone who's ever broken a limb or swallowed a metal object they shouldn't have knows that X-ray vision does exist. Take Charlie here. If I had X-ray vision, she'd look something like this. That's because the bone and soft tissue in our body absorb X-rays at different rates. Therefore, if we put a photographic plate behind Charlie when we X-ray her, we can quite easily see where all the bones are. Now, we on Brainiac have endeavoured to find out whether X-ray vision is actually possible. And by that I mean, is it possible to see through people's clothes using science and technology? I really hope it is. Well, well, don't you three look super? The Brainiacs have been hard at it trying to work out how to see through clothing. They've come up with a theory that says if you use the infrared function on some video cameras, clothing becomes transparent. Now, one of these three lovelies has a message hidden under her dress just for me. I'm going to see whether I can find it. Now then. Right. Nothing obvious there. Or over there. So I guess I'd better try round the back. Right. Oh, hang on. I think I can see a G-string. Right, let's investigate further. And yes, there's definitely something there. It says, "Get lost." Right, well, thanks very much. I guess I've been told. Brainiac. At some film premieres and gala openings, certain paparazzi photographers have worked out that clothing becomes transparent under flashlight photography. Now, we don't have a paparazzi photographer or a fancy gala opening, but we do have a load of Brainiacs with disposable cameras. Take it away, guys. Most clothing is impervious to light under normal conditions, but under the extreme intensity of flash photography, light passes through the garment, illuminating and reflecting off the white underwear. As the flash lasts for only 1/1000th of a second, the human eye doesn't get to see it. Until, that is, the pictures are processed. And there we have it. Under certain circumstances, you can have X-ray vision.
Unblocking toilets is a full-time occupational hazard for us, what with the vast quantity of fast food and lager that makes up the average Brainiac diet. It's a job we could get done by someone else, with £100 call-out charge and an emergency plumber. But paying anyone over £100 to do anything is not really the Brainiac way. We'll have a go, of course, with our own tools, but they're never going to be able to fix this one. So, what do? Well, we've got bombs at our disposal. Light the fuse, chuck it in, stand well back. It's a slow burner, but when it goes, it really goes. That should do it. You have to watch out for bits of flying plumbing, but it's definitely a quicker way of going about things. A few bits to reassemble, of course, but a bit of glue and duct tape, and this Kazi will be as good as ever. Give us £100 and we'll come round to your house. Unblocking the bowl, Brainiac style. Which fruit floats? Featuring Professor Mayang Lee and her big basket of fruit. Today, she's got a soft, hairy kiwi fruit. So, what's your guess? Does it sink or does it float? We'll give you a few minutes to argue about it and give you the answer after the break.
Watching the best of Brainiac, the show that ties a 30-metre bungee cord around the legs of science and chucks it off a 20-metre bridge. Coming up, from girly to grr, the science of violence.
Don't smile, don't smile, harder!
And isn't science fun? More caravans meet their maker. But first, before the break, Professor Mayang Lee posed the question, does her soft, hairy kiwi fruit sink or does it float? Yes, kiwi fruit sinks.
Dodgems. They really are a Brainiac's favourite form of transport. There's no pleasure quite to compare with driving a rubber-protected vehicle at other people as fast as possible. But amongst all this fun and merriment, we at Brainiac always drag ourselves back to the main question. Where's the science? The point of Dodgems is, of course, to cause as much of a bump to the person you hit as possible without incurring damage yourself. So, what is the best way to give the opposition whiplash? In one car, our Brainiac driver. In the other, the victim. We're going to be measuring the amount of jolt our victim receives by the tried and tested method of fizzy drink and popcorn spillage. The better the collision made by our Brainiac, the more spillage that ends up on the victim. First of all, let's try the up-the-bottom approach. Smacking a Dodgem from behind has, of course, the benefit of surprise, as your victim can't see you coming. However, the impact is lessened by the fact that you are, of course, usually going in the same direction as the person you hit. An analysis of the cups reveals only slight spillage, a poor technique. Hitting your victim from the side is better. The force of impact dispersed a little into the forward motion. The general rule on this one should be, the more acute the angle, the better the impact, and hence the greater the spillage. Head-to-head is, of course, a Brainiac favourite. Though often banned by overzealous ride attendants, it's always possible to sneak one in when they're not watching. Though impact is considerable, the downside is that you get as big a jolt as your victim. How then to solve that problem? Easy. Get yourself a fat guy. Now when you make contact, the forward momentum should carry on. Yep, it does, and your victim suffers the most damage. So remember, avoid the up the bottom. Maximise your angle on a side approach, but for best effect, pack a fat guy and charge head on. And with this advice, you won't be a victim all your life.
I'm very angry.
Earlier in the show, we established that this guy is truly soft by running him through a specially designed course that replicates a dodgy boozer. Our mission is to see if we can turn this wuss into his Hollywood hero, Arnold Schwarzenegger, in just a couple of hours by arming him with the necessary skills.
Respect, mate.
The first change to be made was the colour of his clothing. Black is the colour of choice for hard men, or skin-tight yellow if appearing on Kill Bill 3 is your ambition. It might not make much of a difference, but our softie needs all the help he can get. First up, an attitude adjustment.
Just stare, harder. Don't smile. Don't smile, harder. Get really angry. Let's just say that before you hit that bag. I'm really angry.
I'm really angry.
I ain't angry, really angry.
I'm really angry.
Really angry. That's it. That's what I want. Glenn, hold that bag.
The next step was to work on his technique. Getting power into a punch means using the whole body.
Not that, because you won't feel nothing. Your body weight behind the elbow, it feels it all. Come on. That's what I'm talking about. Come on, Dominic, and again.
And this principle can be applied to other areas in the physiology of fighting. Force equals mass times acceleration. So by using the whole body, you increase the mass and therefore the force of the blow. This science can also be applied to the physics of kicking doors in.
Generating power is all about going through. So when you're there, you must make sure your foot can actually go through the door and your body weight behind it. That's it, keep it lower. Remember, the lock is there. You've got to bust that. Excellent! Excellent!
Ever wondered how small guys manage to successfully manhandle big guys? Again, it's all down to technique, using balance and leverage.
You're going to get right underneath him. So when I'm here, my head is going to do all the lifting work.
Back muscles are one of the biggest muscle groups in the human body, and harnessing their power makes moving a bigger object easier.
Look how easy that was. You've done that exercise perfect.
And just when we thought he was getting used to it, he finds himself a little shaken at the prospect of actually having to hit this guy.
This arm's going to slip right up his back. If you have to throw a few knees in just to shock him, throw a few knees in. It's just to keep him stunned up in case he starts struggling. But that groin shot should just give him enough to realise you meant business. Don't be shocked. He was going to do ya. Let's go. Oh, that's better. That's better, Dominic. That's it. Enjoy it.
It's been a steep learning curve as he's come to terms with the harsh reality of trying to be like Arnie. So with one intensive training course under his belt, can our softie elevate himself into the realm of the hard?
I'm angry and I'm a son of a...
Well, that's a much better entrance than his first attempt. So far, so good. That took him 3 attempts pre-training.
Told you!
Now remember, the aim is to look tough without actually causing any harm. Here comes the first big challenge. And just look at his body language. He's starting to believe he's hard. Pre-training, he couldn't get the door to move, but now he's a one-hit wonder. This is the big test, though. Will you be the intimidator or the intimidated?
What I told you to leave.
You talking to me? Yes, I am. Well, the practice has paid off. He's quickly acquired the arm lock and done it with confidence. Well, his execution of the various techniques hasn't been too bad. He started off soft, and while he's nowhere near becoming Arnold Schwarzenegger, he has taken a step in the right direction. And that, in the world of science, is called progress. There are times on Brainiac when we try and answer the really big questions of life. We set up elaborate experiments to try and unlock the big mysteries that beset mankind. This is not such a time, because today I'm going firework racing. This is a rocket. I got it from a very big box of fireworks. This is my bike. Top speed, 190 miles an hour. And over here, this is golfing Brainiac. He likes to hit golf balls all day, every day. And here is his golf ball. Now, I'm standing on the start line, and over there is the finish line. All 3 of us will be leaving this line at the same time. The question is, which one of us will cross that one first? The golfer. The ball weighs 45 grams. The bat has a graphite shaft and a titanium head. His longest hit is 228 yards, but that was downhill and off a small cliff. His biggest challenge will be to keep the ball in a straight line. He may well knock me off my bike. The rocket. Maximum height travelled 250 foot, all usually upwards. Today, though, it's going to travel along this fishing wire to keep it on the straight and narrow. Me, usually 30 miles an hour residential, up to 70 on the motorway, but today I'm going for it, because I don't want to arrive behind a jumped-up banger and a pimpled ball. Right, the deal is that I get a 50-yard run-up. Then, on my approach, the golfer takes his backswing. Then, when I cross the line, he hits the ball and they fire the rocket off. That way, we all get to cross the start line at the same time. We're off. Place your bets then for the big race. Here we go. There it is, at 190 miles an hour-ish, I win by the smallest of margins. I'm pretty sure I nicked it. We all got a solid start, all set off at exactly the same time. At nearly top speed, I held the lead at halfway, but the rocket was accelerating and gaining on me. And at the end, well, the high-speed camera there tells the story, and I was wrong. It's the rocket that won it by a nose. Final official timings, the firework, 6.16 seconds. Me and the bike, a fraction later at 6.18 seconds. And the golf ball, well, the clock's still running on that one. Far from hitting me, he couldn't hit a barn door.
Anybody see where that went? Anybody?
So there you go. Remember, if you're late for work, keep the bike at home, just shove a rocket up your arse.
Well, that's about your lot. We hope you've enjoyed watching us abuse science as much as we've enjoyed abusing it. And what better way to say goodbye than by reliving some of the very best caravan wrecking moments from the series. See you soon.